The summer break is over, and it seemed here yesterday as if the summer itself was over. But today in Norfolk, the sun is shining on the resumption of the High QMSA British Touring Car Championship. 15 races gone, 15 races left as the battle for the most important title in British motor racing continues here at Snetterton today. And it will continue with the same kind of intensity that we've enjoyed since day one of this championship back at Brands Hatch in April. Welcome to another season of our British Touring Car Championship.
Another victory for Colin Turkington.
Well, it was 7 weeks ago at Croft that Matt Neal lost his championship lead to Colin Turkington, and such was the dominance of West Surrey Racing and the Team RAC BMWs that day that Turkington was able to open a 25-point margin at the top. Whether he can maintain that advantage is the big lesson we learned from the first of our 3 Touring Car Championship races, which is just a few minutes away here at Snetterton. Well, the championship leader didn't quite have things all his way in qualifying, and Louise Goodman can report on all of yesterday's action.
Jason Plato was the only man amongst the BTCC front-runners who didn't take part in the recent test session at Snetterton, but that doesn't seem to have hampered the Chevrolet driver's performance here. He took pole, but despite topping the timesheets in qualifying, Plato doesn't hold out much hope for a repeat performance in race 1, with the fast-starting BMW of Colin Turkington sitting alongside him on the front row.
It's good to get pole, important, but Colin's in P2, so we know what's going to happen. Turn 1, he'll be gone and off, and he'll probably win. That said, we're here to fight, and we're not going to give up.
It's obviously great to be starting on the front row of the grid, and you know, hopefully I should be leading by the first corner. But the Chevrolet is very quick here, and you know, with the long straights of Snetterton, it's very difficult to break the toe. So I think it's be a much closer race than it was at Croft.
James Thompson finished a close run second in third ahead of VXR's Andrew Jordan, who out-qualified his championship-winning teammate Fabrizio Giovanardi by 0.002 of a second. Matt Neal's time was good enough for third on the grid, but the VXR driver was demoted to 9th after being penalised for blatantly cutting corners on his quickest lap.
It was one of those things, end of the qualifying, put all your cards on the table and see what you can do, and well, didn't work this time.
Stephen Jelly lines up alongside Neal in a top 10 split by just half a second. Harry Volkard's 10th for the new Bamboo Engineering team. Adam Jones is 12th, just ahead of his new teammate Gordon Shedden, who's making a return to the BTCC in place of the luckless Dan Eves.
I arrived yesterday, I think sat in the car for about a minute and a half before the first practice session this morning, so if you talk about being on the back foot, I think this is it absolutely epitomised. And
Rob Collard was frustrated with his car and with 14th on the grid. So here's confirmation of the grid. Plato tops the times sheets on a 1 minute 12.247. Turkington and Tomo are both on a 12.3, and the gap between the 4th place Jordan and Giovanardi in 5th is even smaller. Row 4's Jackson and Paul O'Neill, Matt Neal and Stephen Jelly make up the top 10. Volkard's 11th on a 1:12.8, and the 2 Cartridge World Carbon Zero racing cars are 12th and 13th. Collard's 14th on a 1:13.2, Dave Pinkney and Tom Chilton share row 8, and John George and Martin Johnson bring up the rear.
It was 7 weeks ago at Croft that a dominant performance from Colin Turkington saw him open a 25-point lead over Matt Neal at the top of the championship. Whether he can maintain that dominance, we'll find out in round 16 of the British Touring Car Championship right after the break.
We're on board with Colin Turkington, series leader. He's had 2 wonderful events at Oulton and at Croft, and now he's got to try and maintain that championship momentum, but the other guys are all going to be out to stop him. So Plato leads, and right behind Turkington is James Thompson, of course, in the Team Dynamics Honda Civic. Let's take a look at the grid in more detail. It is Plato on pole position, the first driver, in fact, to take a repeat pole from qualifying this year. Turkington is alongside in that Team RAC BMW. Second row, we've got James Thompson, a former lap record holder here, and Andrew Jordan, the fastest of the Vauxhalls in qualifying, the youngster. Behind them on row number 3, it's Fabrizio Giovanardi, still looking for those 3 titles in a row, of course. Jonathan Adam is alongside in the Airwaves BMW. He'll also be looking for the rear-wheel drive advantage. Matt Jackson 7th on the grid, fastest over the first sector in qualifying, losing a little bit in the second sector. Alongside him is Paul O'Neill in the sunshine.co.uk car. Matt Neal 9th on the grid. He was further up, but he lost his best time, as we heard. Stephen Jelly's 10th, had a wonderful event at Croft with podiums in all 3 races there, but a little bit of a struggle in qualifying. Harry Volkard in that re-liveried car for Bamboo Engineering, renamed team as well, and Adam Jones in the first of the 2 Cartridge World Seats. And of course the other story is Gordon Shetton back in British touring cars. He's in the second of the Cartridge World cars, lining up 13th, and Rob Collard is in the second of the Airways BMW cars, 14th on the grid. Working our way down the order now, Dave Pinkney for Team Dynamics, 15th. Tom Chilton, a lot of revisions to the engine. He's lost a stone in weight since we last saw him as well, all in an effort to try and be faster in that Ford Focus. John George, he's starting his 100th British touring car race in this first race of the day. Martin Johnson is alongside him in the Boulevard Team Racing car, and we're hoping James Nash is at the back, but he did have a problem, as I say, going out onto the grid, and we'll just see whether he's starting from pit lane.